Military Channel. Every nation in the world has armed forces which vary in strength. In today's video, we are going to rank top 20 armies in the world. Let us begin. Number 20. Poland. Polish armed forces have 120,000 active military personnel, 567 tanks, 459 aircraft, and 86 naval assets. Number 19. Vietnam. People's Armed Forces have 470,000 active military personnel, 1,829 tanks, 223 aircraft, and 109 naval assets. Number 18. Israel Defense Forces have 173,000 active military personnel, 2,200 tanks, 601 aircraft, and 67 naval assets. Number 17. Iran. Islamic Republic of Iran Army has 575,000 active military personnel, 4,070 tanks, 541 aircraft, and 101 naval assets. Number 16. Australian Defence Force has 60,500 active military personnel, 59 tanks, 353 aircraft, and 43 naval assets. Number 15. Ukraine. Armed Forces of Ukraine has 200,000 active military personnel, 1,890 tanks, 312 aircraft, and 38 naval assets. Number 14. Egypt. Egyptian Armed Forces have 440,000 active military personnel, 4,664 tanks, 1,069 aircraft, and 245 naval assets. Number 13. Indonesia. Indonesian National Armed Forces have 400,000 active military personnel, 314 tanks, 466 aircraft, and 324 naval assets. Number 12. Brazil. Brazilian Armed Forces have 360,000 active military personnel, 466 tanks, 665 aircraft, and 112 naval assets. Number 11. Turkey. Turkish Armed Forces have 425,000 active military personnel, 2,229 tanks, 1,065 aircraft, and 154 naval assets. Number 10. Italy. Italian Armed Forces have 170,000 active military personnel, 197 tanks, 850 aircraft, and 313 naval assets. Number 9. France. French Armed Forces have 205,000 active military personnel, 222 tanks, 1,004 aircraft, and 126 naval assets. Number 8. Japan. Japan's Self-Defense Forces have 240,000 active military personnel, 1,004 tanks, 1,451 aircraft, and 155 naval assets. Number 7. Pakistan. Pakistani Armed Forces have 654,000 active military personnel, 3,742 tanks, 1,413 aircraft, and 114 naval assets. Number 6. South Korea. Republic of Korea. Armed Forces have 555,000 active military personnel, 2,331 tanks, 1,602 aircraft, and 157 naval assets. Number 5. United Kingdom. British Armed Forces have 194,000 active military personnel, 227 tanks, 663 aircraft, and 73 naval assets. Number 4. India. Indian Armed Forces have 1,450,000 active military personnel, 4,614 tanks, 2,210 aircraft, and 295 naval assets. Number 3. China. People's Liberation Army has 2 million active military personnel, 4,950 tanks, 3,166 aircraft, and 730 naval assets. Number 2. Russia. Russian Armed Forces have 830,900 active military personnel, 12,566 tanks, 4,182 aircraft, and 598 naval assets. Number 1. United States of America. United States Armed Forces have 1,390,000 active military personnel, 5,500 tanks, 13,300 aircraft, and 484 naval assets. This is the end of our video. If you enjoy this kind of military content, don't forget to subscribe to Military Channel. See you in the next video.